Hello. Welcome, welcome, and welcome. Welcome to Thursday Talks at Heal Black Joy. And in today's conversation, we're talking about money mindset. Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Yes, we're talking about money mindset. So I'm waiting right now for our guests to arrive. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Thursday so far. And I want you to be thinking about your relationship with money in this conversation. So I want you to heart it up. I want you guys to share it with all of your friends. We're content creators, and so we're trying to keep ourselves from being shadow banned, which has been an ongoing issue with some of the great content creators on Instagram. So if you guys could heart it up, share it out to your friends. I'm gonna see if I can get her on. Natalie. Yes. I'm gonna get her on. I just sent her a request, so I'm gonna wait for her to get in, and then I'm going to introduce our guest for this evening. But welcome to Thursday Talks at Heal Black Joy. We are going to be talking about money mindset, financial mindset. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Share it out. Hi, Queen.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm
Happy
doing
Thursday.
wonderful. I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing wonderful. So good to see you. I was just about to get into introducing you, but I wanted you to be on because I wanted everybody to see this queen, this glorious woman right here, because she is nothing short of amazing.
Thank you.
I want to give you your proper introduction. So you guys, I am Lola Troy, the host and curator of Heal Black Joy, the learning platform for our community to heal our Black joy with tangible and attainable programs for the mind, body, soul, relationships, and businesses. And tonight, our guest is Natalie Michele from the ATL, Financial Freedom Coach. She provides a premier financial literacy and business service platform to underserved communities nationwide, you guys. She serves as a member of the advisory panel for Bank of America and a mentor in her local church community. So y'all clap it up, give me some hearts, for Natalie Michele ATL.
Thank you so much. That's a great introduction. Thank you so much. I appreciate it for you having me here. And I mean, this is, I love what you've been doing, what you've been pouring out to heal our community. So I'm grateful to be a part.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad and so excited to be having this particular conversation with you. So we kicked off mindset. This is our mindset month. Last week, we talked about complete mindset, a conversation with America Nicholson. If you guys have not looked at those videos, I had to do it in a Zoom call because she's so busy. I didn't get a chance to do it live with her, but it was so amazing. And I wanted to keep that conversation going and talk about mindset in different aspects of our lives.
Yes.
And so tonight, we're going to get into money and financial mindset.
Beautiful. That's exactly, and that's what it's about.
I'm having this conversation with you. Loving it. Okay.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, I hope I can do my part.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. When you think of money mindset in our community, your underserved community, the community that you are targeting, what immediately comes to mind for you?
The lack of literacy, actually, is that's just really it. If we knew better, all of us would do better, but they kept that part from us. And so because of that, and I like to kind of take it back in history, in our community, we were attacked to learn. So there's sometimes a little level of anxiety of the unknown. And we typically go off a lot of the word of mouth versus reading for ourselves. And so those in the higher areas and the wealthier places kind of learn that about us. And so if they can keep things in books and keep things in fine print and keep it where it just seems a bit over our head, then we just go to either trusted sources or who we heard of, not who we know of. So because of that, it does cause a bit of a lack of literacy. You know, we're not all on the same page with how to file a tax return, how to look at our credit. I mean, there was no class for it. You know, thank God you can go to a local H&R Block and get your taxes done. But where do you go to analyze your credit? Where do you go to have someone tell you how to obtain money outside of being a banker? And we don't have that. So because of that, you know, the false prophets and those who, you know, want to take advantage of those who are disadvantaged in literacy, because that's all it is. You know, if you knew what that person was trying to sell you, at least the foundation of it, then you would know if what they were doing was true or not. But a lot of times we don't do that. So because of that, money in our mind is connected to just not knowing. So that's why it's a higher level of anxiety, higher level of fear, higher level of everything when it comes to money. Even in our excitement, when we're getting so much, you know. But there is a large lack of literacy. And so Nationwide Numbers firm was really created out of that. You know, I was kind of in that same situation as well. I had so many questions, but who to get the answers to? And then that's kind of how I developed Nationwide Numbers.
So I'm glad that you segue into that. So what inspired you to start your company to help our community specifically? What was it that gave you that drive to do that?
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you first. I'm a Taurus at heart, so I know there's a drive in me regardless. But what I was so and thought about was just trying to find out how to get out of what we would call the trap, just the cycle of the race of and never getting ahead, right? So I used all that drive, motivation, and ambition and fought after the knowledge. My father always told me knowledge was power. So after I started trying to chase the dollar, I started chasing the knowledge and the resources. And so then I was able to obtain getting a mentor, learning, restoring my credit, learning taxes, learning how to read a credit report, and then from there obtaining, over $200,000 from a credit union for not only my personal but my business. And then from there I was like, everybody needs to come on. But I noticed through my community it was similar people just like me of all ages wanting to still figure out what I found out. And so that's when it was like, you know what, enough is enough. Consider me your rich auntie, because I'm going to make sure that, you got a trusted source where you can go to and someone that can point you into the right direction, and everybody's case is different. So, you can't just go, it's not just cookie cutter, but there's just a common denominator of the lack of what we do know to get ahead.
I want you guys to drop down in the comments and heart it up and share this out, because I think this information is super duper vital to our community. Because a lot of times I think that one is a lack of knowledge, and then it's also fear, because we sometimes and it's worth, like, we don't feel like we're worthy of getting certain things, right?
Oh yes. Oh my God.
We don't feel like we're worthy. So a lot of times we have these limited belief systems around money. So I'm going to mention some of these, and I want you to speak to this, and I want you to tell us, how do we reframe or discover and put into practice a new money mindset?
Ooh, yes, my favorite. I combat this all day.
Yes. So these are some of the ones that I have heard, that I've used myself, that I know that I've had these conversations, whether it was with my family or my friends or my coworkers or colleagues. It's like, well, I'm not from a wealthy family. Money doesn't come easily to people like me. Or I can't afford to buy that, the house, the car, the holiday.
I'm going to go ahead and stop you on the first one. The reason why you didn't come from it, because it's supposed to come from you.
Woo!
You are the generational curse breaker. You're the one who's taking that risk. You're the one who's setting the tone forward for your family and the legacy. So that's why it didn't come. It had to come right there through you. See, everybody else wasn't ready, probably would have mismanaged it, maybe just kind of took it to themselves and not put everybody else on. But you, oh no, you've been called, you've been chosen. And that's why the money is coming to you, for you to help those. Nationwide Numbers is about building community leaders. And it typically, I wound up discovering I get in contact with generational curse breakers, the agents of change. And sometimes they don't even recognize it. But they've went through so much through their life and what they've experienced that spiritually I do know it. And okay, yeah, you're the one actually. So, I continue to just encourage them with that mindset by knowing that they're the first ones to set the tone. I mean, Harriet Tubman really didn't have anybody to help her with freedom. She just had that gift, that dream. And so sometimes we're just put in place to be, that's our assignment. And so that would be the first thing I would refute to that. The second thing you were mentioning about, let's go on that one.
I can't afford to buy that house, the car, the holiday, the dress, the vacation.
Yeah. So a lot of times we're only thinking about what's coming in. And we know we mismanage. So typically the income that we're left with is what we're thinking about for expansion. So of course it's never, after my expenses, I barely got enough to really get by to the next time. So of course, talking outside of that realm of income is just beneath, it's above me. I don't know.
Right.
So what I then discuss in that moment, if there are things that you can't do to afford, like myself, well, let me figure out other ways of income so I can. There's nothing that I can't do. Okay. So in that direction, I like to look at all the streams of income that client has. And as the Bible says, you should have 7, yes, 8. So he actually even gave us a bonus on top of the 7 streams that we should have. So if we're not going through our portfolio as adults, to really see where we have streams of multiple things with our gifts and talents and abilities, then that's why we can't afford it, because we haven't brought in more income.
I like that you're talking about streams of income, because we have been taught to get a job. Most of us are, whether we're college educated or come from a family that went to the military, and we were taught to go get a job, go to college, get out of school, or go to the military, right? Our generation. This next generation, my daughter's generation, wasn't necessarily on that same wavelength. Like,
no.
They're birthing out millions of dollars in their early 20s, and it's happening super duper fast because they don't have that limited belief system. They didn't have, we wanted to encourage them. I've always encouraged my daughter to be an entrepreneur and encourage her to do the things that she wanted to do. Whereas our generation, because of their limited resources, they were like, you got to go to school. And because that was the options at that time, right? But it still comes from a limited thought process. It still comes from a limited belief system, because I remember this conversation. It was an interview that Jay-Z did years ago. And he was talking about becoming a multimillionaire with Rockefeller Records. And he went to his uncle, all super duper excited. This is his uncle that was in the streets, that he respected. And he had this crazy idea. And he went to his uncle. He was like, I'm doing Rockefeller Records. We're going to be multimillionaires. We're going to do blase, blase, blase. And his uncle was like, you can't do that. You're not about to do that. And what he realized is, you cannot talk to people who have not done it, because they will be the biggest dream killers and goal stealers than anybody, right? So talk to us about surrounding yourself with people that not only encourage you, inspire you to get out of that rut of having a limited money mindset.
I love that you brought that up. And again, I like to make sure we all have the same foundation where I'm about to go with this. Slaves were never going to be able to teach you how to be free and how to be a master.
Ma'am, you just took me somewhere. What?
So
Woo-wee.
if we take that 400-year-old mindset in today's time, that's why you get those conversations every time that you bring up these unknown things. They never saw it. They didn't know how to teach you how to do business. You know, unfortunately, the masters, though, at that time had learned crops and seasons and how to deal with money and how to establish their business. They were doing taxes way long before the slaves were. So they're aware. And when we go into our, like you said, our baby boomer generations and other generations, the youth now have seen, wait a minute, if I get a trade, market it properly, and get some capital, what school?
Why do I have to go to school?
Why do I need to learn that? I need to learn what I need to earn.
Say that again.
I need to learn what I need to earn.
Ooh, that's good.
So, yeah, I don't need to go to school. You know, in today's, and back in that time, of course, knowledge was power. So that's why we did go to school and learn education. But technology has advanced to a totally different level. And as we're seeing right now, people are getting paid to do just like what we're doing, and you didn't go to school for it. So, you know, things are different now. And with that mindset, you do have to be around those that are the free thinkers, those who are, you know, next to those who could be in that circle. And when you are, I've met a lot of clients that unfortunately did not have anyone in their circle that was an entrepreneur, you know, that I could tell was a master. So they've already just been enslaved, period. Even if they wanted to be free, no one was going to help them to show them how. So, you know, in those particular cases, that's when I tell people one thing about it is mentorship. It's extremely important. And it does require us to step up outside our comfort zone, let someone know that we need help, but that's what it's for. And the same way that we listen to the good referrals of where to go get something to eat and where to go party at and what movie we should watch on Netflix, we need to find out who is in our circle that can help us be a master.
That is so good. Oh my God, that is so good, Natalie. So you said we need to learn what we need to earn. That is like that's the quotable for tonight. We need to learn what we need to earn. That's the quotable. So how you said mentorship is super duper important.
Oh, absolutely. If you don't come from a master, you got to find one. Who else gonna teach you?
Right.
So, you know, that's when we have to put down our ego and put up our teacher, our student hat, and be ready for the next level and opportunity, because that's where you got to go, and somebody does have to teach you, and you got to be willing to follow. You know, Harriet Tubman didn't give people a choice. She said, listen, I'm going here, I find out it's free, do you want to come?
Right.
It wasn't too much back and forth about it, you know, and she had already found the way and did it several times. So why would you choose another route? Why would you be like, well, no, Harriet, let me go see what Brother Joe talking about, because he had said he found another way, but no, Brother Joe's still on the field. So if someone's been free and you've been seeing their consistency, seeing their growth, their progress, you got to be willing to look inside yourself and see if you can just reach out, because that's your next level. And sometimes it's uncomfortable, you know, but that's because it's something that's you're just going to have to go off on your faith to get to. Right.
One of my, I think it was our very first interview that I did. It was about self-care and self-preservation of Black women. And in that conversation with my good girlfriend, Sarah, she talked about pivoting, because a lot of times we are in corporate America. We're a marginalized group of people in corporate America. A lot of times these people we don't want to go back. Like, there's been this article about Black women not wanting to go back to the workplace. You know, they've been remote for over a year now, and they're having anxiety and depression about going back to the workplace because they don't like, you know, the passive aggressiveness. They don't like, you know, that they're creators, they're creative. They have the ability to do something else, but they're fearful of taking that step into entrepreneurship, right?
Yep.
So what would you say to those group of women that are fearful or are like apprehensive to take that step into entrepreneurship, and how would they go about doing it? I know that you have that platform, and we're going to talk about that, like what you're working on.
Yeah, of
We're
course.
going to pump that up at, when we
Of
wrap
course.
up this
Of course.
conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But I want you to talk to us about, when do we pivot? Like, there's a pivoting moment where it's just like, I can't do this no more. Like, I can't go to this job and listen to these tears of these people that, are privileged and, are passive aggressive with me, taking my ideas, taking ownership of my ideas, and I'm not getting promoted. I don't have work-life balance. My kids are at home not getting the best of me. My husband, my lover, whoever's at home not getting the best of me because I don't have the gumption to pivot. What can you say to those women?
I was one of those women. Back after graduating from an HBCU, Savannah State University, in December 2008, I went off to corporate America as I was told to, right? Got there, was very successful. I worked as a recruiter for for-profit schools, and then got into being the director of admissions. So, of course, we played the political game, and I'm like thinking, okay, I can get 6 figures off of doing all of this. But at the school, a lot of the students used to come, and they would be a lot older than me, but making pivoting decisions. They would be telling me about their frustration. They want a life change. The money isn't different. They're ready to do something to serve. And when I heard that, it made me think, am I serving? Am I serving in my purpose? And when I was constantly seeing the frustrations of what corporate America did, the capping that they would only give me on my salary, I'm worth so much more, but based on based on what they want to do, they tell me no. And don't be aggressive for asking for more money, because I usually did ask for more money.
Of course. Yeah.
But I wanted my time. I wanted my freedom. Outside of corporate America, I modeled, I was in fashion, and I'm like, how can I do that and do this? You guys get all of my time.
Right.
So one day a coach came to my office, and I really consider this man an angel, because I literally have never met him again. And he sat in front of me. He said, well, if you're tired and you're frustrated, you know the first step you got to do. And when you make that step, you can make the other steps. And everything's going to be easy. And I'm like, well, wait, I thought it was going to be like, I was going to be able to kind of segue from this to that and to that. And
right.
It's like, no, you feel it. You got to take the step. And so I remember that day, maybe 2 weeks later, anytime there's always just some confusion, some chaos, and you know that you're putting your best foot forward. Sometimes it's not just the enemy, our Father loves us enough to force us out of places too. It's like, hey, your time is up, okay? I got some other stuff for you to do.
Yeah.
And one thing I thought about, it was so many other people waiting on me, that by me moving, I was connected to someone else's blessing, someone else's life-changing experience. But had I not been in that position, then they wouldn't be able to move. So we are all connected, but we got to take that first step. And when it comes to a point, when it's over, just like a relationship, just like when too much eating in a meal, when you're full, you're tired, and you need to take a break.
Right.
And you got to make that step. So if the first step is calling a mentor, the first step is checking your credit to see what capital you can go obtain, okay, whatever it takes. And they're getting investors, working with just a new group of people to sharpen your iron, then you got to take that step. When I took the step, of course, it was different, because I went to school. I got bills to pay. They told me this. Right. What are you talking about? Go do. But it strengthened my relationship with God so much greater, because He was all I had to rely on.
Mm.
It was a tightrope, but I walked it. And the further that I walked, he took me and carried me along for the last 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
That I've been successfully not able, haven't had to work for anyone. I own my time, my mind, and my body.
Mm.
And to me, I am free. So once you can take that step, you can move into those next levels of life and direction, because obedience is better than sacrificing. Sometimes I hate that we got to get forced, but
Out. Yeah.
forced out. But it's time is almost up. So for the other ladies that I meet, and typically when I come in your life, change is happening. You have been now assigned to change. Hi, my name is Natalie. So I wear that position proudly, but I also hear my client's story to know, okay, yeah, this is your time. This is your assignment. Come on. What I looked at in the bigger scope of things too was in where we're going right now, we are needing to be free of our time, mind, and body, because we need to be able to be on the front line, be with our families. And what we've seen, that's kind of what we were doing for the last 6 months. And so if you did not have your own stream of income, if you did not have certain things in place, man, you can't just put all of your financial security on your employer. Mm-hmm. People really took serious now that they got to get their credit done. They got to have the emergency funds. They got to have certain things. So it was important that people really looked at this opportunity now to say, you know what, I should have been started that business I said, because guess what? Now we're in this pickle.
Right.
So taking that step, man, is it's a freedom. It's your first step to financial freedom. And it's so important to do so. And, making sure that you do have covering, you do have security right under your feet. But it's all just going to be based on how you think, what you're putting out there, and being patient to let the process go through too. Because, we do want it fast, but it's going to come in time the way it's supposed to. Right. When you can handle it, when you can manage it, when you can keep it consistent.
That's big. That's big. Man, this conversation is so good, you guys. I saw where some people said they were thanking their friends for inviting them to this conversation. If you have not invited your friends to this conversation, I would employ you to invite your friends to this conversation, because we're talking to Natalie Michele from the ATL, our financial freedom coach, who is giving us so many nuggets tonight. We've been talking about pivoting. We've been talking about you learn what you learn what you wanted to earn. We're talking about, having faith to take that step. Also, the big one for me that you said tonight, the nugget for me was that slaves can't teach you. What was that you said?
Yes, a slave can't teach you how to be a master.
A slave can't teach you how to be a master. So there's no way that our grandmothers and our grandfathers and our mothers and our fathers could teach us about financial literacy and about financial freedom, because they didn't come from that. And it's not their fault. It's just that it is our job now to take the reins, because it is up to us. We are the change maker, the change agent. We are that person. That's right, Black Bond. We are the change agent. That it's on us. It's in our destiny to change the legacy, change the trajectory of our legacy. So yes. I think that this conversation is so worth having, and we've got to have more of these conversations. I know you talked about some of the things that you do. Tell me about your learning platform. Tell me about, like, in the day and life of you, what should your clients expect? Like, if they're trying to work with you, if they want to be that change agent in their family, what are their next steps? What do they need to do to contact you? Like, what is it that you want us to do?
Okay, awesome. Well, on my profile page, you will see my contact information. I think the phone number and the email address is there. I do respond to all my DMs in a timely fashion as well. in maybe a week from today, you will be able to download my app on Android and Google Play stores. Okay, so you'll also be able to get to me in several different places, and then you'll be able to book your consultation, or book your mentorship.
Awesome. And for your platform, do you work specifically for people that have businesses, or do you do personal consultation as well?
Yeah, I know entrepreneurship isn't for everyone. If everybody was out here in the marketplace, then who would be in the hospitals?
Right.
Who would be taking out the fires? Who
Right.
would be so teaching our children? So I understand that there are some industries that require that, but I look at those individuals also as investors. Like, well, hey, why are you doing that? Go and make some money over here too. So nationwide numbers is really just taking the from really anywhere, the individual to their just journey of financial freedom and whatever that looks like for them. Typically, though, we are just in even my own journey was taking individuals from employees to entrepreneurs. So yes, this is really a life change. People have came to me with no cars, no homes, no jobs, no money, and then throughout 6 to 9 months, change. So, but it does start in the mind. It is about character before capital.
It is about character before capital. So is this going to be on Natalie Michele ATL, or is it another? I want to put it in the chat so everybody will have your information, so that if they want to contact you for the consultation, I want to
again, they can just go straight to my profile to book with me, and we can go from there. But they will be able to download the app, which is nationwide numbers. They'll see nationwide numbers. Yes, nationwide because we on your side, and numbers because we don't lie. So Nationwide Numbers Financial Services is the name of the company that I've started, and Shop Natalie Michele, which I have for my clothing brand as well. Because of course, like I told you, I did model. I'm a fashionista by heart, by trade.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is, ladies and gents.
Yeah, NatalieMichele.net is also my clothing brand, and the website is available and it's up. That's also on my page, and then we also have another page for it as well, Shop Natalie Michele.
Okay.
And that's Michelle with one L.
Yeah, it's Natalie Michele with one L and ATL. Right after from Natalie ATL. Okay. Yes. So if you were talking about, I know this week we talked about money affirmations, because money is energy, right?
Yes.
People don't realize that money is an energy. And in order to attract the thing that you want to become, or the thing that you want to achieve, or the thing that you want to acquire, you have to have the conversation. You have to be in the environment. You have to speak it, walk it, write it, believe it, think it. What are some of the things that you do? What were some of the things that you did to change your money mindset? What were the conversations like? How did your conversation change?
Well, the first thing was breaking the myths of what I've learned through childhood, school, parents, friends. A lot of times I've heard a lot of us say, hey, mom said don't get that credit card because you'll just have a lot of debt. But mom didn't tell you what had happened that caused her to look at credit that way. So the first thing I had to do was just start a clean slate. Okay, now it's just me and money. Day one, what to do, how to feel about it, to know, again, like you said earlier, to being confident to know that I'm worthy of all that's on the land. I'm a king's child, so I deserve kingdom royalty. And if I can't think like that, then yes, I'm limited in my thought process of what I should be worthy of. Secondly, being optimistic. I don't talk about what I don't have. I just find solutions on how to have. I don't discuss what's due. Those type of things, I think, create an energy of just chaos, negativity, worry, high anxiety. So
go back to that. I want you to go back to that, because I think people need to understand that concept, because we were programmed to talk about and worry about our bills, right?
Yes.
And that stems from us just growing up in a household where our parents were that concept of robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
language, you guys, we've got to stop with that language. It's not about what's due. It's about being thankful that all of your needs are met and you have more than enough, right? So your language has to change. So if you were to give us 2 things that we could do as far as changing the language, because you spoke about not talking about your bills, what would be a sentence that they could use to not talk about their bills but address the thing that they're thinking about?
I'll get ahead. I'm going to get some bread. I need to breathe. Yeah. A lot of times, the financial burden becomes that monkey on the back, and it's not going away until it's resolved. But what that does is allow us to have high anxiety, treat our friends and family different, work off of desperation. We'll go into one of those Bitcoin scams and all these things online that they're doing to take your money because you were trying to come up with something to handle that. You do have to trust into your source, though. And see, this is where our faith is really just being challenged every time that we bring up what's due and how it is. And eventually you do have to learn, why do we have a problem with things always being due? Are we not paying things in advance? Like, you got to be real with yourself. And so in the midst of that, the goal is to always get ahead. So what do I need to do? I would think of myself definitely as an independent person. I am not sponsored by anybody. I have beautiful, great parents who are here, but I wanted to make them proud by doing things on my own. So I look within my own power. If I got to go sell every piece of clothes in that closet, if I have to put up every shoe on Poshmark, if I have to cook a meal and break it down and start fish plate for $10, I will do it. And so a lot of us sometimes just feel like we're entitled to get bailed out. For what? For what? Why should I just give you my hard-earned work? Because why you got yourself in that? So, we gotta, how do you get ahead? By figuring out the things that you need to leave behind. And the attitude, and the actions, and the behavior. Why is it when we get our tax refund, no one talks about paying their cell phone for the whole year? Why are we still monthly worrying about that? Why did I call somebody and their phone off? You know that you are going to be on this line every day, all day. Monthly is probably $1,200 for a year, $1,200. You got that for your tax refund. You got this loan. Sorry about that. See, the line's been a little busy.
That's okay.
But you have that. And why didn't you take the opportunity to actually move from that? Get that bill off your plate. But if you still just recycle the same behavior of managing your money, then you got to take a look at yourself. And having an accountability partner, all right, a lot of times I realize people don't even have their spouse as accountability partners when they come to money. I don't know what's going on with that. But listen, you got to have someone that you can give that real talk to, the checks and balances, okay? I myself, as a financial coach, I got people still looking at my credit, still saying that, did you file your taxes? Hey, Nat, this is what you have going on. So I'm in that circle to make sure that I can still be all great that I need to be. And a lot of us are not sharing that with the next person. We're holding on to this. So that's why the burden becomes so heavy, because I haven't released this to nobody and I'm struggling and it hurts and I'm frustrated, but you haven't found a way out. And every time that you're spending money on food and every time you're spending money on an outfit and you're going, like I said this week, how many friends are going out at a table and saying, listen, what's your credit score? What kind of business can we do together? Why are we just going out to eat and dance and get a section and some hookah? This is the type of stuff that other communities are doing, but we're the last. But we come together now when you disrespect one of us because we know to come get you. But why can't we show another part of that? That, hey, me and all 5 of my friends got 700 credit scores. Me and all 5 of my friends got 3 or more streams of income. Me and all of my friends move a little bit different. Insurance paid, cell phones paid, you know. So if we do got to borrow, we do got to do stuff, it's a little bit different. We still in another rat race, though. We're still crabs in a bucket. We still, and so I just wanted to create a different energy. So nationwide numbers, outside of just the financial services, you know, we do have a funding circle. So it is a bit exclusive. But it's for those kingdom-minded, like-minded people who are looking for that accountability, who are looking to have those standards that keep them encouraged, inspired, and informed. Because that's what we've been missing.
That is definitely what we've been
You
missing.
know?
That's definitely what we've been missing. And you said some key things about having those conversations and not just having the accountability partners, but having the conversations that are different than just, I'm going to hang out with my girlfriends to go smoke hookah, or I'm just going on vacation to take some pictures to, you know, to flash on the gram. But are we owning anything? Do we have ownership? Because when you have ownership, then you can leverage things from ownership. And
Exactly.
I think a lot of times people, me included, we were just never taught that. And it's not, you know, it's not that, you know, we don't want it.
Of course.
Sometimes we feel like sometimes we feel like we're not worthy of it. Sometimes we feel like we can't achieve it. Sometimes we feel like, you know, it's going to take me forever to get it. You know, it's about not only having an accountability partner, but having mentorship. And I think that's very, very key. So when you're talking about the funding circle, tell us more about the opportunity of the funding circle and what does all of that entail?
The funding circle would be, you know, I know and I'm just going to talk about Atlanta and our culture. You know, it's really cool to be a part of the inner crowd and in the cool circle, right? But I started asking a couple of people, like, do you have a money circle? Like, who do you talk to? Like, who would you call right now if you could go make some money? And we're not talking about multi-level marketing. We're not talking about those people that you go recruit, and we got friends that could do that. No, I'm talking about people who are royal and righteous in their behavior and how they do their transactions, and those who, you know, have good intentions and good heart to serve, but unfortunately we're one of those who lack the literacy. So they got to be with the right group. And hey, I may got friends from childhood that I love, but I can't make $1 with Doug. He don't do right. You know, he may get his money and we don't know what happened to him. A lot of people get some money and next thing you know, we find out other agendas. Mm-hmm. So the funding circle was designed to create an atmosphere where individuals are able to not only trust one another, but unite for group economics. And I just my heart was just so like, okay, enough is enough. You know, because even if people did get the money, they did get the credit, they still didn't know what to do. And, right. You know, sometimes if you just say, hey, all right, bye, talk to you later, I find out 6 months from now that some things changed. So I realized that I needed to be create a community where we can still stick around, still hold each other accountable, and people felt so comfortable and trustworthy that they didn't have to go outside and still go through the fear of being with scam artists and people who do you wrong, and they could feel amongst family. And the more that we can work together and unite for currency, you know, in the physical form, yeah, we're going to make some money, but spiritually, we got a whole nother currency going on. And that's what really creates the wealth. You're talking about like-minded souls and minds coming together to generate some wealth. Come on, man, we're about to change the world.
Right.
There goes growth, there goes change, there goes now a community of leaders that can help inspire the next group of leaders.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my God, this conversation has been so enlightening. And I know we're going to probably have to do another conversation because because I think what happens is we can say, yeah, it's about limiting belief systems. It's not only about limiting belief systems, but it's about teaching people how to get out of the limiting belief system.
Yes.
Because it
Yes.
stems from a root. Like everything that I've been talking about when it comes to the trauma of our childhood, our mother wounds, us not having boundaries, our self-worth, our money mindset, our limited belief systems, all of that stems from something that either we're modeling behavior after what we learned from our parents or our grandparents, or it was something that we were taught. It projected a thought upon us and said, you can't do this because I couldn't do it, and because grandma couldn't do it, because granddaddy couldn't do it, or Uncle Joe couldn't do it, right? But I think it's a much needed conversation, because once we have equity, once we have we have acquisitions, we've acquired things, then we're able to set up our lifestyle where we're able to now join hands and join in a circle where we're starting to trust each other again. I think a lot of times, like you were saying, people are fearful of having these conversations and fearful of even inquiring about trying to get their credit fixed, because they've dealt with so many scammers. You know, Atlanta is the home of the scam artists, right? So
Atlanta, Florida, and Texas.
Atlanta,
the IRS has
Florida,
that online. Now,
Texas.
that's just not me. Now, y'all know we see Florida, but no, it is online reported that way. So yeah, that's really big that we try to do that.
Right. We definitely have to have another conversation. What if there was one final thought to talk to Heal Black Joy, our Heal Black Joy tribe, because our tribe is tuned in, tapped in, turned on to what's going on here. What is it that you could say to them about their financial mindset or their money mindset? If there was one thing, one nugget that they could take away tonight from what you said, what would that be?
Now, you know, I said a lot of nuggets at this point. I didn't give a 6-piece, 12-piece out.
Honey, you done gave us a whole bucket. Okay.
At this point, you need a side.
a bucket.
My one nugget would be tonight, and I think these 3 concepts really just spread across everywhere. Number 1, being patient. You got to go through a process. You have to be aware of what it takes to get where you got to go. And sometimes our self-instant gratification always comes into play first, and we kind of just make the wrong moves, which a lot of times people have. And when I was going through this journey myself, I mean, I truly was patient for the process. And man, when I got there, I was like, whoa, because so many times people rush and do too much.
Right.
So being patient, and when I say patient now, not procrastination. Okay, not I'll put it off later because I'm just gonna wait and be grateful. No. But just be patient in your spirit for the process to wait for your turn. Okay, and next, being optimistic. Anytime these negative thoughts, what I tell people again, do not invent imaginary catastrophes.
Woo! That's good.
And when we do that, overthinking, everything else crashes and burns. So as long as you can remain optimistic, you would always be able to now combat that negative thought that creates anxiety, fear, doubt, and depression. You're always going to have something to counteract it with, because you're grateful, you're able, it's capable, you've picked the right people, you're going to do the right thing, and it's going to happen for you.
That's so good.
The last thing, which to be honest is my favorite, be confident. Confident in the process, confident in the abilities that whatever you're putting your mind out to do, you can. Being confident in the process of whatever procedure has to happen to get you to that next level. Wear your money proudly. Wear your credit proudly. Where, you know, your taxes. Hey, I paid the IRS. Had a debt and all. Yes, sir. File mine.
Right.
But we have to look at money with a different energy, and being more confident. You know, because a lot of us, to be honest, are insecure when it comes to our finances, insecure with the lack of literacy that we don't have. But if we can, and not, you know, an egotistical confidence just of the unknown and the illusion, but the confidence in knowing that, you know, you're on the right track, you're making the right decisions, you've chosen the right mentors, and the right things are going to happen. Now, if you've already done your checks and balances on what you're working with, who you're working with, it shouldn't be nothing else from there. Let the results speak for itself. But if you be patient, be optimistic, and be confident, you'll get that bag.
That's good. That's good. Oh my God, Natalie, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us and taking that step, knowing that you were that game changer in your family, to not only be that Harriet Tubman in today's time for financial literacy for our group of people, because I think it's vitally important for us to learn financial literacy, not only for us to be optimistic, being patient, as well as being confident. And you exude that in everything that I've seen you do and say. And you guys, this lady is nothing but the truth, okay? So I need you to go and follow her now. I need you to share it with all of your friends. Share this live with your friends, because this is vital and important information that we need to know. And we need to take steps into getting our credit fixed. We need to take steps in acquiring land and acquiring businesses and pivoting, because it's time to pivot. You know,
I'm gonna share one more thing too, because I hope this just encourages someone. Sometimes I know sometimes I don't be as vulnerable as I should, but I know this one will help.
Okay.
A part of being on this journey as well, I think, like most of us, as soon as we break through to that next level, the one person that we're looking to make sure we change their life is none other than our mothers, right? So on my journey of financial freedom, as I discussed earlier with Navy Federal, I was able to obtain some things. I was able to first on Mother's Day of, I believe, 2017, bless my mother with a check to start her business. From there, she was able to purchase 7 medical transportation vehicles and transport Medicaid and Medicare patients around Atlanta, and be able to create now her own stream of financial freedom. And on today, she stands as a millionaire for the funds that she's obtained from her businesses and loans and funding. So she is just the epitome of what I see as financial freedom and a generational curse breaker, because God did it for my mom through me. And I thought that was just so amazing, because that is exactly, I didn't know if it was going to be so soon that it could happen. I thought maybe before I die, I'm going to make sure. He had another play for me. And it happened in today's time where we're able to be best friends, see it. And I mean, she just came back from a whole 2-3 week vacation where I saw a woman always working, but that's not how she wakes up anymore.
She's free.
So yeah, and again, had I not taken that step and I just still been in corporate America, that wouldn't have happened.
The biggest nugget, let me go back. I said the biggest nugget. No, the biggest nugget that you said tonight is you stepping into your purpose and knowing that somebody else's freedom is attached to you. And I don't know who we're talking to tonight, but understand that your purpose has somebody else attached to it. So if you're not stepping into your purpose, know that those people can't come along until you walk in your purpose.
Let the church say amen. If y'all want to go ahead and cash app,
amen.
Okay. Black Joy.
Come on now. Come on. People got to understand that it's not just about you. Your story is never just about you. It's about the people that you can grab and pull along, right? So please understand that there are people that are attached to your purpose that are waiting in the wings on you to step into your purpose. I think that's big. I think what you said is big.
Yeah. Thank
Absolutely.
you so
People are
much for
saying
that reminder, because
amen.
when you said it now, I'm like, yeah, my mama was too, huh?
Yes, yes. You set
Yeah.
your mama free.
Yes, yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, to go to
Yeah.
bed at night and know that you set your mama free, because, people, guys are like, I'm going to play in the NFL. And the first thing they say, I'm going to buy my mama a house, right? Because our dream was to set our parents free, because we saw them work and slave and do all these things and struggle. And we are that change agent where we can set our parents free. If you have the opportunity, if your parents are still alive, you have the opportunity to step into your purpose and set your parents free. And I think that is huge. I think that is amazing. I applaud you in stepping into your purpose. I'm so inspired. I know that all my Heal Black Joy tribe is inspired. You guys, y'all been heartening it up. Please share this live with everybody. I can't say anything else but thank you for this conversation. This conversation has been so worth having and so needed in our community, and we got to do it again.
Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready. Yes, ma'am. We got to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah,
guys,
thank you so
go
much.
follow her right now. It's at Natalie Michele with one L and then ATL at the end of it. It's all on Heal Black Joy page. All of her contact information is there. I want you guys to go follow it and make sure that you are tuning into all the things that she's doing and that she's working on, because she's trying to help us become financially free. And I think that is super duper important. So thank you guys for listening. Do you have anything else to say, Miss Natalie?
No, man. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. Thank you, Heal Black Joy, for inviting me on such an amazing occasion. I mean, this is the best Thursday I've ever had. So thank you so much
Yes,
for just being
yes.
able to share these nuggets, right? We were eating at the table together, and you've blessed me just to even remember this story and keep going. So thank you so much for your encouragement. And you guys, definitely, if you're here following me, make sure you're following Heal Black Joy, because she talks all about a lot of things. So I know you always getting finances from me, but my sister is taking care of the mind, body, and spirit. So I appreciate you and what you're doing in your purpose, and how you're helping serve others as well too.
Thank you.
But again, everybody just stay healthy and wealthy, man.
Absolutely. And I just want to thank all of Heal Black Joy for tuning in tonight. As always, I wish you more than enough. Love, peace, and blessings to you all. And may you go out and try to heal your Black joy. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.